The following is a presentation of Team Bonding, providing more than 100 live, virtual, or hybrid corporate team building activities for companies around the world. Visit teambonding.com to schedule your event now.
Hello, team. It's me, your new best friend, Rich Riddensland, and I'm welcoming you to Team Building Around the World, the podcast where I speak to people from the team bonding, team building industry from all across the globe. Today, we have with us Mr. Alex ten Klei. He is coming to us all the way from Holland, from the Netherlands, where he is a part of Windshift. So before we get more into that, I do want to take a second, of course, to give some love out to my supporters. This show is supported by the Catalyst Team Building Network. Find out more about the world's largest network of team building providers at catalystglobal.com. We also want to thank our friends at B1G1, which can make your business a real force for good. Visit b1g1.com to get started. Now, established over 13 years ago, Windshift has become synonymous in Holland with beach-related events. However, they have diversified beyond the beach into large or small-scale, fun, experimental, indoor and outdoor event-based team building programs. And with me is one of their remote team building facilitators, Mr. Alex ten Klei. That's a small group of people I keep trapped under my desk, Alex.
Yeah, that's a warm welcome. Thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you. So please, let's start off. Just tell all my listeners out there a little bit about yourself.
Well, yeah, hi there. My name's Alex, and like you said, I started Windshift about 13 years ago. Back then, it was just an outdoor company. We were doing a lot of fun things on the beach. Started out with kite surfing, actually. Did a course to be an instructor in kite surfing, and there were not a lot of good schools at the moment. So I decided to start my own kite surfing school, which was a lot of fun. It was great to do. It's you're always on the beach, and that's perfect circumstances. Well, if the weather's okay.
Yeah, that must suck.
That was exactly the problem, because the season here to do outdoor events in the Netherlands, it's from April to about October. So that's a pretty short year, which is great if you're just starting.
Yeah.
But I wanted to expand it a little bit more. So I started to do some other activities beside the kite surfing. Also to be not as dependent on the wind. Because you need a certain amount of wind for kite surfing, and if it's too much, you're on the beach as well. You can't go into the water. So we had a pretty short season, and I wanted to do some more programs, more activities. So I started to do them on the beach, which started, at first it was just doing kiting on the beach with groups, so I could handle more people as well. And then there was a new activity that was launched in the Netherlands, and it was beach sailing.
I was looking over your team's, your company's website, and it mentions sand yachting. What is that?
Well, it's basically that. Well, we're in the lucky circumstances here that we have some great beaches, and especially at low tide, they're very wide. So you need the hard and packed sand, and then you just have a little cart on wheels. So one wheel in front and two in the back, and it's like you're sitting in a boat or in a car even. And then with a sail on your on the car on the boat, and then you can just sail on the beach. It's a lot of fun, and it goes really fast.
Fabulous. Now, how did you get into team building? What was your main idea that got you started in this?
That goes back a little bit longer, because when I was in high school, I started teaching sailing at a sailing school, and that ignited also the team building, or at least trying to have to learn while you're having fun. That's what we used to do with the kids when they had difficulties, when the weather was not so good, or they had trouble learning sailing. What we did was throwing games. We started gamify the learning. And I've always remembered that and found it fascinating how you can influence people's behavior by throwing in games. If you throw in fun element, it goes a lot faster, it's easier, and they're having fun doing it. So that's also why I started the kite surfing, and after that the land yachting. And from there on, it started to become more serious, and the games became more serious as well. as I started to moving away from the beach, that's when I joined the Catalyst network, because they had some amazing games where it was not just about the fun, but also about developing skills, about the learning part of it.
Right.
So that brought it back to the kids, because basically what we do is still the same, only there's a different reason why we learn.
Now you're doing it for more grown-up kids.
Yeah. But funny thing is, if you throw in games and competition, it's just like you're playing with the kids again.
Well, let's get into that a little bit deeper. What is it about game playing that you think helps actually bring teams closer together, that actually makes people a more cohesive team?
Well, for a long time, I thought that it was competition part of it. When it's always fun competing.
Right.
It's always fun when you're, when you form a group and you're working with a group towards a specific goal. Mm-hmm. And if the goal results in a win in the end, it's even better. So for a long, I thought that was part of it, a big part of it. But during years, I also found out that when you have competition, you have a winning team, but that's only a small part. There's only one team that wins, and that also means that everybody else is losing.
Right.
So how do you keep them engaged as well? Because it's fun to win, of course, but you also want the people who are not winning, you want to keep them on board.
Yeah.
And that's also what a lot of the programs and the activities that I used to do on the beach was about competition, mm-hmm. and more specific physical competition. So at the beginning, you could already tell who was probably going to be a dominant player, sure. And who would be in the winning team. That's also one of the reasons I wanted to develop more into other games where physical advantage would not bring you the win.
Right.
So it was more about the collaboration and the team that got you to the win. And that's what a lot of the Catalyst programs do. And even more specific, they're not all about competition. Mm-hmm. So I kind of moved away from the idea that competition was one of the main, should be one of the main aspects of a team building game. And now more in the line of, focus on a common goal and have everybody work on that goal together. Because that drives more engagement and it drives a more deeper satisfaction when you've reached that goal than just the win.
Well, can you give me an example if you can? Tell me a game that you play where you can actually see a team becoming more cohesive as they play.
Well, this is one of the programs that we do called Beat the Box. It's kind of an escape style game.
Right.
And there you can really tell the difference. Because the game works that every group is divided into smaller teams, mm-hmm. teams of about 6-7 people. And they all have a big box on the table. It looks the same. So as soon as you divide a group into teams and you put a box on that table, mm-hmm. they're in competition. We don't have to tell anything. It's just, they want to beat the other teams. That's, probably how we're wired, something like that. Okay. But it goes automatically. And then the idea is they need to find a hidden code. They have 90 minutes to do so. We give a few hints on how they can open the first box. And once they've done it, there are 4 smaller boxes in there with padlocks. So, it's they're not done when they've opened the big one.
Right.
That's so really everybody feels that they're in. Sorry, yeah.
That's really only the beginning, getting in that first box. Yeah.
Yeah. So once they've opened it, okay, and then they say, there's more.
Yep.
And then after a while, they get stuck. They can't continue their quest. They can't continue opening the boxes. Mm-hmm. And then they need to realize that it's not competition against each other. It's just competition against the time. Because to open or to get the hidden code, they need to collaborate. Mm. So there's a turning point in the middle of the game. At first, it's competition. And in the end, they realize, okay, we need to work together. The first stage, when they discover that they need some information that the other teams have, they start to walk around and they look to find whatever they need. That's the first stage,
right?
But it's not collaboration yet, right?
Right.
Because you're just trying to get what you need.
Sure.
And then when the game progresses, they figure out that okay, it's not just about getting what I need, but it's also giving what I have.
Oh, that's good.
And that's fascinating because then you're really going towards collaboration and towards, a common goal. It's not just about getting what you need, but it's also giving what you have without getting a result back right at the start. And that's a fascinating concept. And so, it starts with competition and it ends with everybody working together to find the specific code.
Fantastic.
And it's fascinating what happens in a group, because there are a lot of people who drive on the first part, the competition. That's what they love the competition. They love to compete. They love to be faster than the others. But there are also a lot of people who love the second part of the game, the collaboration, working together, sharing knowledge. And that's all that's great for feedback in the end, because I always ask them who loved the first part of the game and who loved the second part of the game. And that gives some really nice information about the team, about the people who you're working with. And it explains a lot of the behavior as well. Because if you know that people in your team need competition,
right,
it explains a lot of behavior. You give them a goal and they go at it. But there are other people who, you can give them a goal and nothing happens. Because they're more wired to drive collaboration, to drive working together.
Very cool. All right, Alex, and you actually, speaking of driving collaboration, I have to actually pay some bills over here. So give me one brief second while I tell all my team about Catalyst Team Building Network, an association of team building providers. With representatives in over 90 countries speaking more than 20 languages, the Catalyst Network is widely regarded as the voice of the team building industry. Network members share resources, best practices, and business opportunities. Catalyst partners are learning from each other and pushing the boundaries of what is possible in team building. Catalyst Network members share a common goal of creating highly relevant, socially responsible, good value experiences for their clients. For more information, please visit catalystglobal.com. The Catalyst Team Building Network, the world's largest network of team building providers. All right, Alex, we're back. Now, so that's a fantastic evolution that you've had there, from starting off with outdoorsy, very competitive events to more completely interactive, all-encompassing events. Can you?
Yeah, it's a fascinating journey, and it's it hasn't finished yet. I guess it's
right.
You continue to learn, so that's one of the challenges.
Well, tell me about team building in Holland. How necessary is that where you are?
Maybe need to specify what team building means.
Right.
Over here, a lot of programs and activities, even the outdoor programs that I used to do a lot, are called team building.
Okay.
Which in fact they're not. It's team building and has something to build, to create a team and to become better as a team.
Right.
Now, if you do a highly competitive game, I mean, it's great for team spirit, but it's not necessarily to become a better team.
Right. And as you said, there's a winner and a loser. That's not really what you want for a team.
Exactly. And that's also what I sometimes I ask clients, when they come to me and they say they want to do a game, what do you want to achieve? We want to become one team. We want to play a game where everybody can be a part and to collaborate together. And then when we go into, what game do you want to play? It's usually a competitive game. So, that's kind of a contradiction. You want to improve your team, you want to work better together, and you do a competitive game.
Do you think that was just? Do you think that was just something they knew? Do you think they were just like almost pre-programmed to expect that kind of thing?
Well, that's what happens all the time around us. All 99 out of the 100 games you play, it's about winning or losing. Mm-hmm. We're brought up to be competitive. Right. If you're in high school or any school or any class, it's always you look at the top students, the guys who are winning, and that means that everybody else is losing. So all around, all the games. Name me one game that's not competitive.
Sure.
Quite difficult, right?
Sure.
So we're kind of programmed to be competitive. But on the other hand, in a company, you want to have the opposite. You want people to work together. So that's sometimes a nice discussion that I have with clients. If they want to do something, it's competitive game.
How difficult was it in the beginning to make them aware of that altering of the perspective? Like when they were pitching to you, when they were saying to you they want something competitive, and you were like, wait, I have something better in mind. How do you make that go over?
Well, if I get the chance to talk to them and if they're on the phone, then I can explain it, I can give some examples. But if you talk about, okay, how does a team building look like in your country? Yeah, a lot of people perceive the competitive games, the outdoor, the fun games, which is, I don't want to downgrade them because they're a lot of fun to do, but
absolutely,
it depends on the goal that you have and what you want to achieve. If you want to have an afternoon of fun, then those games can be the thing for you,
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to really develop your team, it's not usually. So that's the status of team building here, is that there are a lot of companies who are designed to do the competitive games, outdoor games,
right?
But they call themselves team building.
Right.
So that's a bit of a challenge here, that there are so many companies who say that they're doing team building events.
So let's talk a bit about some of your favorite events. What are some of the favorite things you like to do?
Of the team building events, you mean?
Yeah.
I need to dig in my memory. It feels
okay.
like...
Take your time.
Now everything has shifted into online games. So the time that we did the live events with a lot of people in the same room, that seems like ages ago.
Right.
In fact, it's only a couple of months ago, but it feels like a lot longer. My favorite games, they are the ones that lead to they're the collaborative games. So the one that I mentioned, the Beat the Box, is one example. Mm-hmm. But another one is, I think, Big Picture. Okay. That's where you create a masterpiece, but not just one masterpiece, one canvas. Mm-hmm. The whole team, the whole group is divided into teams again, and they work on several canvases. And if you put all the canvases together, you create one masterpiece. So it can be, we did one a little over a year ago, where we had 500 people participating into one giant canvas.
That's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, I think over 50 canvases were put together into one giant masterpiece.
Excellent. Now, I'm sorry, if you don't mind, I do want to shift gears for a quick second.
Sure.
Let's talk about charities. Do you do any sort of charitable work?
Yeah, we work with, I heard you mentioning the Buy One, Give One at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And we work with them as well.
Okay.
So what we do is each program that we run, we end with a certificate of gratitude. So if the group, let's say there are 200 participants in the group, right, then the winning team will get a certificate. And it says something like, it would have been great if you would celebrate your victory with a nice bottle of champagne, but that's not going to happen. Instead, we've chosen to help children in India with their education. And because of your presence here today, 200 children will get access to an e-learning system for a month.
Fantastic. Now,
if you close up an event with something like that, it's it
becomes a lot more meaningful.
Goosebump moment.
Yeah. That entire the few hours they've spent with you, they've actually have even realized that they've been doing so many good things. Do you have any specific charities in Holland that you like to work with?
We used to work with charities in Holland, but now we shifted all to Buy One, Give One. I like the idea of local projects, so to have local projects here in the Netherlands to work with. But on the other hand, the Buy One, Give One, they are supporting local projects as well, but then, all around the world. So, we decided to change and work completely with Buy One, Give One.
Excellent. Well, with that in mind, let me take another second, if I can, and tell everybody about B1G1, which can make your business a real force for good. When you're part of B1G1, you bring new purpose, meaning, and relevance to your business by making giving a core of what you do. Unlike conventional giving models, B1G1 helps small and medium-sized businesses achieve more social impact by embedding giving activities in their everyday business opportunities to create unique giving stories. Every business transaction can impact lives from as little as just 1 cent. So please visit b1g1.com to get started. B1G1, business for good. All right, Alex, let's go talking more about you. Windshift has been in existence for 13 years. You're the founder of it. You've led many events, I assume. Do you have any favorite memories of your own?
Favorite events?
Yeah.
Well, last year, I think it was around this time of year, we had the opportunity to go to Japan for an event.
Oh, lovely.
That was quite special. It was a Dutch client, but they had offices in US, in Australia, and in Japan, and in the Netherlands, of course. And they had their annual meeting in Japan. So they went 3 days to Japan with their whole management team, and they were looking for an event. And they didn't know the Japanese market of team building very well, and we have been doing business with that client for on previous occasions. So yeah, they invited us to go to Japan.
Excellent. What event did you lead for them?
We did the Infinite Loop, which is an event where you wear virtual reality headsets. Mm-hmm. Nice event, and it's kind of about communication. And this was a company, they were working in different areas across the globe, and they wanted to improve their communication. And with the Infinite Loop, the nice part is, day-to-day life and work, you come across numerous barriers. Can be age, language, time zones, cultural differences.
Right.
With this game, you put in a new barrier between virtual world and the real world. And it's about getting information across from virtual world to the real world. But how you deal with that barrier is almost the same as you would in your day-to-day barriers. So there's, some people make fun of it, make a joke around it. Some people get frustrated. Some people fall quiet. Some people take the lead. And that all happens within one team, and you make it, visible. So we were asked to do that in Japan for that group, and that was an amazing event. It was special to land in Japan and to do an event there with your kit with all the virtual reality headsets to get them through customs. That was quite special.
Fantastic. But now let's actually talk about virtual reality, Holland and the world in the midst of a pandemic right now. How are things going over there, first off?
Oh, yeah, with the pandemic. Well, it's going into the right direction now. Things are starting to open up. We're allowed to do events up to 100 people now.
Oh, that's great.
And from the 1st of September, and maybe even sooner than that, we're allowed to do more than 100. But we still need to keep physical distance in place. So that means here, it means 1.5 meter apart. It's still different than what we used to do with events. But at least it's something positive again. We can look, it's opening up. So that's really the good news.
Yeah, but the world, let's face it, the world has changed. Just these past few months, people getting used to working virtually. What kind of successes have you had switching to a more virtual market?
We had to switch completely virtual because, all live events were canceled, and all the confirmations that we had in the agenda were gone. So our agenda was completely empty. And that was, great being part of the Catalyst network, because there were around 50 companies who all faced the same difficulties, but they are not competitors. We're in the same, the same problems. We've got the same type of markets, but we're not competitors. So we can share, almost everything. And that means also product development. So we had some great partners developing new products almost instantly when it happened. So quite soon, I think within 3 or 4 weeks, we had about 7 or 8 events that we could do online.
Well, like what? Give me an example.
The program that I mentioned before, the Infinite Loop, what we used to do with virtual reality headsets. And now the Tunisian partners, they've developed a program that we can do on web-based version.
Oh, great.
So, it's different than wearing the headset. But what happens here is one person enters the virtual world. They can see something different on their web browser, so it looks like they're in the virtual world, and the other players will get some additional information. So it's still about sharing information. It's about communication barriers. So the essence of the game has stayed the same, but now do it online, and some other programs as well. But the thing that they have in common is that we try to split the information that's available to the team. Because especially, and you probably noticed in the online meetings, it looks like everything's, the people who take the lead in an online meeting, it looks like they're even more present than in a live meeting.
Okay.
And the people who are a bit more laid back, they don't usually take the lead. Looks like in online meetings, that's even increased as well, or decreased. So in online team building events, we try to break that routine. And the only way to do that properly is by dividing the information. So it's not that we give all the information to the group, because then you would still have those processes in place.
Right.
You already know who will take the lead and who doesn't. But if everybody has different information and they need to bring it into the game in order to reach a common goal, then you get some true interaction from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like that part, to get everybody involved and through interaction. I wouldn't say it's easier than in a live game.
Right.
But it is one of the real advantages that I never thought of before doing the online events. We've been thinking about online events, and I think everybody knew at some point you need to work more online, collaborate more online. But you think of it driving to the next meeting, So
that's fantastic, though. I mean, that's great. I love the fact that it is still focused on the all-inclusiveness aspect, because that's so very important, especially nowadays.
It is, yeah, and that's also one of the main USPs that we sell the games now, the online games, is that you do get the inclusivity and the engagement that you want.
Very good. So now, tell me, Alex, dipping into more of your personal memories, do you have any sort of silliest moments from an event that you want to share with us?
The silliest moments.
I'll be honest with you, it's one of my favorite parts of the show, so I always try to make sure I fit time in for it.
Well, yeah. Well, there are always those typical moments when you go to an event and you forget something, or that you arrive on the event, you want to start the event, and then you forgot some
right.
essential tools. So those are the typical moments when you really need to improvise, and it's not fun when it happens, but sometimes those type of events, they turn to work out pretty well. I remember one time we wanted to go to an event.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tablet-based event, and we forgot the tablets, which are quite essential, key element to the game.
How do you get around that? What was your workaround for that?
Well, we at first, there were no tablets, so we tried to do it on the mobile phone. So we had everybody try to install the program or the app on their mobile phones.
Okay.
But it was for a company where security measures did not allow to download an app. So that didn't work. But it was the finish of a project, and we knew that it was the closure of a project. That they've been working on that project for 1.5 years, and this was a closure, so it was an important moment as well. But for the game, they needed the tablets, and we gave them a box toolkit, and they needed the toolkit to do different challenges, which were on the app.
Right.
The download on the mobile phones, that did not work. So what we decided to do was throw the program around and say, okay, you've done a project here. What we want you to do is create kind of a chain reaction. So every team has to create a memorable event from the last 1.5 year. And you need to link them all together. So we have one chain reaction, one chain throughout the whole room.
Nice.
And right before we do the reveal, or before we set the chain in motion, everybody can have 3 minutes to explain their most memorable moment about the event or about the project.
Mm-hmm.
And worked out brilliantly. It was a big hit, big success.
Good for you.
But it was close call at the moment.
Oh, sure. Sure, that sounds like a real, what we call a nail biter over here. Well done, though.
You just want to, open the little door in the ground and just fall through it. And But it turned out great. Client was very happy in the end. They said, okay, there were some troubles, but they loved the way that we improvised and that we came up with a plan B.
That's great. Now let's talk about, if you don't mind, your personal life. You've been with team building, in some regard or other for most of your life. How do you use that in your everyday world? You have family?
Yeah, 2 kids.
Lovely.
Live together with my wife, and not far from the office here. So we have actually great life.
So how does teamwork influence, especially let's say for the past few months you've been in lockdown with your family? What do you do to keep the cohesion of the team of your family working?
Well, the last couple of months we've had a lot of tryouts for new online games. So I took some of them home.
That's great.
And we so we tried them, but also what we did was one game we translated into Dutch pretty quickly, so our son could play with his kids, because he couldn't go to school anymore, but he still wanted to connect with his friends, with all the kids in his class. Nice. So we translated the game and we played it with his class. So there's always a way to introduce the games. Like, when we started talking, it was about the games. That's what we did at home as well.
Amazing. I think your son is getting into team bonding even though he doesn't realize it.
Yeah. And well, if I ask him or if he wants to explain to his class what I do, it's just, Daddy plays games.
Fabulous. Well, with that in mind, Alex, first off, I just want to say thank you so very much for being on the show. You have been absolutely wonderful to talk to. And it's always fascinating to me to be able to reach out to the other end of the world, literally, to find out how things are going. So thank you for being here with us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for being here as well. Thanks for your time as well. And I liked the conversation we had. So thanks.
Thank you. Now, unfortunately, I have to be honest with you. I'm buttering you up a bit because I'm about to do something torturous to you. Now, as you know, being a facilitator as well as not only the lead of your industry out there, it's torturous for folks who are in the corporate world sometimes, who come into these events, and I see so many eye rolls. I hear so many, like a collective sigh, as they realize that they're there for yet another team building exercise, not realizing that we're just going to be playing with them and having fun. But with that in mind, I want to put you through a little bit of torture because it's time for us to do our speed round. Now, to explain what this is, I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and I'm going to ask you just a series of innocuous questions. You're just going to answer them as quickly as you can, the objective being the first thought that comes into your mind as an answer to each question, okay?
Yes, sounds fun.
There's no stress to it. It's just to have a good time, and, if we have some goofiness happen, so much the better. All right, Alex, so I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and we will begin when you hear that first question. What is your name?
Alex.
How many children do you have?
2.
Which one's your favorite?
None.
There you go. Do you have any pets?
No.
Great. Who is your favorite teacher?
Justin.
What did he teach?
Geography.
Who's your favorite musician?
Eric Clapton.
Who's your least favorite celebrity?
Kylie Jenner.
Okay. How would you describe yourself to new people?
Quiet, but can be energetic.
How long have you been married?
Well, we're not married yet, but we're together for 18 years.
Would you rather be invisible or fly?
Fly, of course.
If you could time travel, past or future?
Future.
Great. Fantastic. Just under the wire, you got 10 questions done. So well done, Alex. Once again, everyone, please give a lovely farewell to my dear friend Alex Klei. Alex, you've been absolutely amazing. Thank you so very, very much for being here on the show. And
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks to all of you out there for once again listening to Team Building Around the World. If you like this show, please share it with a friend or a colleague. We'd be grateful if you would subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you find your favorite podcasts and leave us a favorable review. If you didn't like the show, don't leave a review because that's absolutely fine. All past episodes can be found at teambonding.com. And that's it for me, team. This has been Rich Riddensland. You've been listening to Team Building Around the World. And as always, if you are within the sound of my voice, you're now on my team and I'm on yours. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next time.
It's been said that you learn more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation. So why not put your coworkers to play with the help of the team at Team Bonding? Team Bonding was founded over 20 years ago with one simple question. How can employees have a great time while fostering strong, authentic bonds between people who work together? Their catalog of innovative events includes scavenger hunts, Jeopardy, and much more. Each activity, whether live, virtual, or hybrid, maximizes the impact of team building with an accent on fun. Visit teambonding.com to schedule your event now. Team Bonding, when you want seriously fun results.